Today I'll be talking about the power-ups in the racing game Sonic Rivals. The goal of this game is to reach the finish line before the other character in the race, which I'll be referring to as the rival throughout this video. Power-ups are used in two different ways based on whether you're in the lead or not, but the idea is normally the same: prevent the rival from moving for a few seconds so you can run past them or stop them from running past you. Let's get to the point, because this account is new and won't let me have a video longer than 15 minutes on it. Fire power-ups are one of the first power-ups you find, along with Ice and Star in the first zone, Forest Falls. The offensive form of the fire power-up is a ball of fire that travels across the ground, either hitting the rival or missing them. This is the most common form of offensive attack power-ups give you, unlike its defensive form. When you're in the lead, it forms a shield around you that stops one hit against you. It can stop anything from power-ups, strikes from your rival, and damage from robots, even destroying robots if you're hurt by running into them. Honestly, this is the best defense out of all of them, since you don't have to worry whether it will hit or not, and it protects you from a whole bunch of other things as well, with the only downside being once you activate it, it turns off after around 10 seconds. And since you can collect power-ups while the shield is active, you can effectively have two power-ups at once. Ice attacks, like the fire offense, is a blast that travels across the ground, but instead of burning a rival, it freezes them in a block of ice for a few seconds. When you're in the lead, it creates a block of ice behind you, and if the rival runs into it, they're frozen. While that alone is not very impressive, this can actually be used without a power-up in the Crystal Mountain Zone. It's a snow level, so a few of the trees have snow on them, and if you bump into the branches, snow falls down on the track, creating a block of ice your rival can run into. In the second zone, Coliseum Highway, you get the electricity power-up. The offensive strike of the electricity power-up, unlike the others, isn't some kind of blast from the racer, but brings down a lightning bolt from the sky, striking the rival, with the only problem being sometimes it just doesn't work. Since the lightning comes from the sky to strike down on them, the bolt gets blocked by the rival being under a platform, like being under a roof. It's still the best offensive in the game though. The defensive of this power-up creates 4 electrified rings you release one by one, creating a trail as you move, needing careful jumping to avoid getting shocked. Each ring shocks you, so you can be shocked 4 times if you're careless. At Sky Park Zone, the game just gives you all the power-ups in the game, meaning you have all 8 power-ups for the rest of it. The Mine power-up attacks by slowly following your rival. Even though it moves slower than other offensive attacks, it tracks its target floating towards them instead of trailing across the ground, making it harder to dodge, though it takes a while to reach them. The defensive is just leaving the mine behind you, waiting for your rival to run into it. Pretty basic, considering how unique its attack is. The Wind power-up offense is a blast that trails across the track, and if it hits the rival, it will toss them into the air and trap them into a tornado for a few seconds. When used defensively, it leaves a whirlwind behind you, waiting to toss your rival into the air if they run into it. Offensively, the Illusion power-up fires forward, and if it hits, well, I'm not really sure. When it hits you, it causes your screen to go blurry, making it harder to see where you're going with the kaleidoscope pattern, but I'm not sure how that translates to the rival's computer programming. It definitely does something to it, I'm just not sure what. Regardless, its defensive is just a regular drop the rival runs into and does whatever it's supposed to do to them. Magnet power-ups are different, since they don't have offensive or defensive forms. When you use the magnet, it creates a circle of magnets that pulls in all the rings around you. Good for the ring collecting challenges, but not much else. And now we reach the final power-up, the Star. The Star is unique since it doesn't have a specific ability, but gives the power based off the character that uses it. Sonic's special constantly surrounds him in a sonic boom, boosting him to his maximum speed. It also makes him invincible, barreling through anyone who gets in his way, rival and robots alike. This is the only special move that affects the user instead of the rival. Knuckles slams his fist into the ground, stunning the rival for a few seconds wherever they are on the track. All special moves affect the rival instantly, wherever they are. Shadow uses his Chaos powers on the rival, surrounding them with a red glow and slowing their movements, even when they're airborne. Silver uses his powers on his rivals, surrounding them in green. Like the Illusion power-up, this affects the console itself, changing the inputs of buttons, making it harder to go in the direction he actually wants to go in. And on that note, we're done. I'm thinking about making unceremonious outros my thing. It's not because I can't think of an outro, I swear.